Hey everybody, and welcome to the Friday wrap on the Streamlined Solopreneur, a short episode where I talk about three things: what's on my mind this week, recommended reading, and recommended media. This is the show that helps you automate your business so you can take time off worry-free. And hopefully this curation will help you think more about your systems. I'm your host, Joe Casabona, and here's what's on my mind for June 26th, 2026. This week, I had a 4-hour workshop. It was 2 hours over 2 days each, or 2 hours each over 2 days with Ecamm, and it was a blast. Something I covered a bunch was my Stream Decks, and I actually do a case study of this very show, the Friday wrap-up, and how crucial Ecamm and the Stream Decks are to my workday. And with the Stream Decks, it's not just about Ecamm, it's everyday use. I have a ton of keyboard shortcuts. There are too many to keep track of. So the Stream Decks that I have, I've got two, are fantastic for this. And now they have Raycast integration, so it's even more powerful for me. In fact, the Raycast integration specifically is so crucial because Raycast has really eliminated a lot of other tools I use, like Carabiner Elements and Keyboard Maestro and Text Expander. And so the fact that I can integrate Raycast with the Stream Deck means I can actually integrate a lot of productivity tools and shortcuts into the Stream Deck. But that's really a topic for another day, right? Maybe it's something I will cover in a future Automation of the Week, which is an exclusive for newsletter subscribers. You can get that over at streamlined.fm/wrap. But today I actually want to talk about the hardware side of it, not the software. Prime Week, I refuse to call it Prime Day when it's the better part of a week, is wrapping up as I record this, and I finally gave in on Thursday. There were a bunch of deals, including noise canceling headphones and these new like Hollyland lapel mics that I've been interested in. But one of the purchases I made was the 8-bit Do Micro. It is a tiny game controller designed for the Nintendo Switch and Android. But it can also work as a tiny keyboard with software that maps keys or key combinations to the device. And in recommended reading, I will talk more about that exact thing. But for Prime Week, it was $15, and so I thought it was worth trying. Worst case scenario, I have a third controller for our seldom used Nintendo Switch, so I have something for when my kids are old enough to play Mario Kart. The software is clunky, but I was able to map complicated keyboard shortcuts. Sadly, not the hyper key, which for me is Command, Option, Control, Shift, and that's mapped to my caps lock key, thanks to Raycast. But good combinations of keys nonetheless. And I can map those keyboard combinations or key combinations to the buttons on the little controller, the 8-bit Do Micro. I also remapped the D-pad. So if you are listening, it's so small. It fits fully in the palm of my hand. And it's got a directional pad and then the X, A, B, Y keys on it, as well as the top corner keys like the L and R and L2 and R2 buttons. So there's like 16 mappable keys on this. And I remapped the D-pad because I'm actually going to hold it vertically most of the time, like it's a clicker for speaking or something like that, or a TV remote. It is, by the way, it is smaller than the Apple TV remote. The reason I'm talking about this today is I like the idea of experimenting with little hardware automations like this. It's more tactile than key combinations. Or keyboard shortcuts. It doesn't require as much mental energy to remember what was that combination, especially when they get complicated like mine do, and the hyperkey helps with that. The Stream Deck is especially good for this because it has visual cues, right? It has icons, and so I can look at the Stream Deck and know the automation I am going to run or the shortcut I'm going to run. So it's not quite as good as the Stream Deck, but it is about a third of the cost of the smallest Stream Deck, which is the Stream Deck Neo. And it has lots of programmable buttons on it. And so with this, I have a couple of use cases for it. I'll use it for Raycast notes and doing stuff in Obsidian. So, bopping around apps I use really regularly. I also have a little, while I get used to this, I have a little card that I've written the mappings to. I don't know how long this is going to last, but I have it there just as I get used to it, because this is like day one. So the 8-bit do micro, I will have a link in the description. I'm pretty excited for this. It's really small, super portable, and it's also something that I can bring with me when I travel. I like to travel light, and so I'm not bringing a Stream Deck with me. And this thing is wireless, and I can probably do some different mappings on my laptop. You can map it to the iPhone and the iPad as well. So really excited for this. Now, recommended reading is related to this. It is from MacStories. It's called My Latest Mac Automation Tool as a Tiny Game Controller. This is the article that inspired me to buy the 8-bit do micro. John Voorhees has a write-up. It's fantastic, and it covers several interesting use cases, and that's what ultimately convinced me to at least try it. Again, like for $15, it was definitely worth trying it. So right now, I am working with a first idea, best idea, the things that I wanted to map to it. But as John points out in his piece, there are profiles, and the micro is also small enough to use invisibly on camera. So maybe I can map the directional pads to the Stream Deck or Ecamm, and I can move through these scenes that if you're watching the YouTube video, you see the text changing on screen. Maybe I can move through those with the micro instead of having to reach slightly or make sure that my Stream Deck is very close so that I can turn the knob without having to move off frame or making it obvious. So that article just gave me a lot more ideas. So if this is something you're interested in, I think Prime Day is happening for at least Prime Week is happening for at least a few more hours as this episode comes out. And so might be worth checking out. Even off deal, I think it's less than $25. So totally worth it. All right. And the last thing, recommended media. House of the Dragon Season 3 premiere breakdown by New Rockstars. I promise I won't make House of the Dragon the focus of recommended media for the next 2 months. But after the season premiere, and really after every episode, there are 2 YouTube channels I go to for more context, analysis, and clarification. One is Alt-Shift-X, which is an incredible resource for all things Game of Thrones. It's so good. He did a breakdown, I think, of every Game of Thrones episode, as well as books and lore, and A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. He also covered really, really good stuff. The guy deeply understands the world of Game of Thrones. And while he does near 3-hour long live streams after each episode, I think he's located in Australia. And so it is morning for him when the episode is finished. He's not doing his normal explainer videos this season, which is a bummer, but he has some other things he's working on. I totally understand. I can tell how much effort goes into those videos. And when he's doing the 3-hour live stream and has other stuff, like I totally get it. Super good. Which is why I want to recommend this other channel today. It's New Rockstars. If you are into Marvel or Star Wars or any of those extended universes of fiction and movies, they do a really good job of these sort of breakdowns. And while I think, their headlines or their titles are clickbaity, they kind of have to be. That's how the YouTube algorithm works. And so on New Rockstars, they do a reaction video the night of, but then less than 24 hours later, they publish their breakdown, which is super impressive. Eric Voss and presumably his team does an amazing job at pointing out very missable details. And so this is Eric Voss also knows of the Game of Thrones universe. I think that's how he launched the show, was talking about the channel was talking about Game of Thrones. And so I really like his breakdowns. I especially like when he points out changes in the music or Easter eggs in the music. He has an ear for music. I think he studied it. And so it's always cool getting that perspective. That's not something, you get like deep lore with Alt-Shift-X. And then you get some of the more cinematography and music and score stuff, as well as the lore with New Rockstars. So I really like that. I recommend it. If you are watching House of the Dragon or Game of Thrones, both of those channels are really good. Okay, so wrapping up, I did want to tell you that something I've been working on for like a month is the Solopreneur System Starter Kit. It's a lead magnet that I thought would be super cheap or super short, super easy to make. And it ended up being over 9,000 words, and it goes really deep. I cover 4 systems every solopreneur or small business owner should have: admin work, CRM and client onboarding, content creation, and ideas, like idea capture and verification. So that is completely free. It also has all of the tools I use, as well as an AI and automation swipe file. It is easily my most valuable lead magnet to date, or resource, I guess. My most valuable resource to date. You can get it completely for free at streamlined.fm/kit. That's streamlined.fm/kit. So if you did enjoy this episode, you can join the newsletter. Going to streamlined.fm/kit will also get you on the newsletter. So you'll get the additional automation of the week, as well as regular emails on how to approach building systems to help you take time off worry-free. Thanks so much for listening. And until next time, I hope you find some space in your weekend.